TSM is up. I am up in all of my swing trades. Hello, my friends. Outside of the Yield Max ETFs that I am in, I also do a little swing trading, and I just kind of wanted to go a little bit over those, show where I'm at in those, and also how and what stocks I'm looking for, and how do I determine which ones to get into. So just kind of go over that a little bit here. It's a lot to go through, but I'm going to kind of try to make it pretty simple and quick. So I'm going to use VOO as an example here. This one here, not all of them are going to be perfect, right? It is the stock market. Nothing moves perfectly up and to the right, but there are a few signs that I'm looking for and a few things that I'm looking for it to meet. So first of all, let's look at VOO here, and for the 1 year chart, I'm on the 1 year chart here. I am looking at this 200 moving day average. That's the MA200, and that's this red line right here. And what I'm looking for is that graph on the 1 year chart, which is daily, to stay above that 1 year chart for most of the time. So again, it's not always going to be perfect, but for most of the part, it's going to be above that MA200. If it is above that MA200, then I'm going to also look at the 5 year chart. In this 5 year chart, as you can see, it just stays right above that MA200. Now this one here on the red line, this is a weekly chart. So this is a moving average. This is a 200 week moving average. Okay, so versus the 200-day moving average, because I was on the daily chart before. This one here, I'm on the weekly chart, as you can see right here, the W for weekly. This is a 200-week moving average. So what this tells me is overall, this one here is going to go up and stay above that MA200. That gives me a little bit more of assurance that even if the stock goes down, history tells me it's going to continue to go up if history repeats itself. Now, nothing's guaranteed, but we're just looking for things that we can use to help us decide if it's a good stock to get into and is it the right time to get into that stock. Now, as I said here on the VOO, not all of them are going to look this pretty, staying above that MA200. We can look at LLY that I'm also into. This one here on the 1 year daily chart. This is the red line, is that 200-day moving average. As you can see, it was staying right above it, and I got in about right here whenever it dropped. Now, it did drop, and then it dropped down below this 200-day moving average, and it went down a good bit here. It ended up going down as low as about $710 or so. It is now since going back up and getting back up to that MA200. Now, you could say, do I need to cut my losses here when it dropped down under $750, when it got close to $700? Do I need to go ahead and just cut my losses and get out? And there's not a problem, and there's no shame in doing so. You got to figure out what your risk is. But what I kept going back to is, when in doubt, you zoom out. So if I even zoom out on the daily chart here, and I look for the daily chart, we are just staying and going up, up, up. If I zoom even further out and I go to a 5 year chart, this one here, that's a 200 week moving average. It's still above that 200 week. Now, granted, that's a good ways for it to fall to get to bottom of that 200 week, but overall, this one here has an upward trend, and the 1 year chart, a nice upward trend. So I'm going off of history saying that overall this one here is going up and to the right. Now, I normally would not get into a stock if it's below the 200, but if I'm in it and it drops down below the 200, I'm not necessarily selling out of it, but I do have to watch it. If it does seem to want to keep going down, then maybe you do have to cut your losses. And you have to decide for yourself what is a good time to get in, what's a good time to get out, what is your risk tolerance, and do you need to go ahead and cut your losses? So again, when this thing dropped close to $700, yeah, sure, I was thinking maybe I need to jump out of this one. maybe I need to cut my losses here. But again, like I said, I zoom out and I just look at this chart and I'm just looking at this history and I'm saying, I'm going to give it some time to breathe. It's having a rough time right now, but hey, let's see if it comes back. So kind of wanted to show exactly that, not all stocks actually play nicely and look like it does on the VOO, where we're just staying right above that, 200-day moving average, and it's just bouncing right, off of near it and keeps going up and to the right. Not all stocks look like that. I'm in AVGO as well. And look at this one here, just bouncing straight off of that 200-day moving average. I'm in this one. It's going up and to the right. I'm in TSM again, staying above that 200-day moving average. So that's a sign that it's a good stock to be in. We already looked at VOO. NVDA, again, staying above that 200. Amazon, staying above the 200. Here's another example right here. Had you bought when it dropped and it then went down below that 200, do you sell out? Well, maybe you do. You got to decide that for yourself. But again, I like to zoom out and see what has the stock been doing, right? So if it's been going up and up and up, I'm going to give it a little bit of grace and see, can it recover? And as you can see, it did recover. ABBV, this one here is just kind of a bouncing off of that 200. It did drop down below it, but we are back slightly right there above it or at that 200 presently. AFLAC, again, same thing. PRU, same thing. And Visa, same thing. And I'm in all of those on my swing trade stock sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and slide over there and I'm going to show you which ones I'm in, how many shares I've got. But before I do that, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video. It helps out the channel. Okay, so here we are on the YouTube stock tracker sheet. I'm just going to kind of quickly show which ones I'm in. I am showing that these ones that do not have the sell on it, it is blank. Those I actually did get stopped out of because in my plays here, once I'm above my cost, I will put a stop on it and I'll try to give it room to breathe, but there are times when it does drop back down and kick me out. So on LLY, like I said, I'm in this one. I have 16 shares at $812.09 a share. The current price is $826.71. I've got my stop set at $816 at the moment. I'll make another video and show how I'm setting my stops as well. But for now, I'm just going to kind of go over my sheet here and show, how many shares I've got, what my average is, and where my stop is. And I will make another video of how I'm setting those stops. KO, I had 88 shares at $63.52. It was going up and then it did drop back and kicked me out at $63.89. So this one here, I made about $32 on off of those shares total. ABBV, I had 24 shares at $170.75. I had a stop set at $177.99. It came down and kicked me out at $177.90 with the slip, and that ended up making me $171.55. We got AVGO, 24 shares at $165.70. I have a stop set at $166 even. TSM, I've got 17 shares at $182.37. I've got a stop set at $196.59. I've just moved it. It previously was $191.97, and I have since moved it to $196.59. VOO for shares at $540.20. I've got a stop set at $553.29. Now with that stop set, that helps that if it does come down, it will trigger that stop and then sell out my shares at that price. Now there are sometimes a little slippage, as you can see in that previous one, where on ABBV I had a stop set at $177.99, but it slipped down to $177.90 and sold at that price. But that happens, so it's not a big deal. PANW, I had 2 shares at $386.20. This one here was moving up fast, but of course, as fast as it moved up, it also dropped down quick, and it actually ended up kicking me out at $386.79. So I only made about $1.14 on this one. Not a whole lot on that one. I had my stop set higher as the stock was higher, but when it opened that morning, it was a good bit lower, so it actually sold it at a lower price, but I still ended up selling it just above my cost. I hate to have got stopped out on that one because currently that one is up nicely. NVDA, I've got 18 shares at 135.56. I've got a stop set at 139.51. Amazon, 9 shares at 199. Current price being 227.03. This column here is the current price of the stock. And I've got my stop, or my new stop, set at 214.15. ABBV, I am back in ABBV. As you can see, the one up above it, I got stopped out of that one and made $171. It did come back down and triggered my buy point. And again, I'll do a video on how I'm getting in to these plays and what I'm using to get out on these plays. But ABBV, I am back into that one at 12 shares at 176 even. Current price is 176.19. So it's pretty much right there at my cost, so I do not have a stop set on that one yet. AFL, 7 shares at 106.55, current price 107.31. I do not have a stop, it's just too close to my cost. I'm letting this one just hopefully to run up a little bit, and then I can set my stop hopefully at around about 107 even. That would be a good buffer between what my calculated average is and still allow it to give enough room to breathe. If this one here can get up to 108 or 109, that would be what I'd like for it to do. PRU, 6 shares at 125.33. Current price is 126.56. So our calculated average is below the current price, which means we're in profit, but I do not have a stop set. V, which is Visa, I have 2 shares at 309 even. This one's at 311.01. It has not went across my sell point. So again, I will do a separate video on how I am setting my stop points, but currently it has not reached that point, so I do not have a stop on this one. I'm letting it ride. So with all of our profits here and the previous profits from some of the previous videos that you can also find in my lineup in the channel, we have a total gain so far of $826.27. And if I slide over here, our start date was October 7th. So I have been doing this for exactly 2 months, and I have made about $826 so far. So that's kind of where I'm at on this. This is the number of shares, my calculated average. I am kind of laying it all out there just to show you that this is how I'm running it. This is how I am buying and how I am selling. You have to do your own due diligence to decide on what's good for you and if it's the right time to get in or out of a stock. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. It helps the channel out, it is much appreciated. As always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. So until next time, legend out.